Well, hello everyone. Jennifer here, and I am back. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus, if you haven't noticed. So, those that are still subscribed to me, which I very much appreciate, I realized that I had to focus on the main thing this year, and that was creating my cake course that I'm almost done with. And I had to follow my own advice from my own understanding of ADHD and the course I created, Successful ADHD Entrepreneur. um, I had to follow that advice and not deviate, because again, we can do everything, but we can do anything, but we can't do everything, right, at the same time. And so, with that said, I'm almost done with my course. I'm about to launch it, and I wanted to get back in the saddle with ADHD and coaching. And I really, really have a passion for this. Like, this is why I really sat down this year and I thought about, what do I want to do? What is my life? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want to help people with? And this is my passion. I want to help people who have ADHD lead themselves into a successful life, and use the things, like, I'm still learning, but I've built businesses. You know, I have had some pretty awesome success. I've also manifested things, I've realized. And so I had some really amazing epiphanies this year. I actually joined a mastermind, and for the coming year, but I'm kind of like, I've already been in the master class pass, which was helpful, but I knew I needed to go to the next level. So what I'm doing is a commitment to myself that I want to post once a day. I know it's a lot, but I want it 5 days a week. So I'm going to take weekends off. But I want to bring pressing issues, because of the actual depression that I have faced myself. That's why I wanted to start this off with how to beat depression through action. And I do have notes today, because I realize also I get off into tangents, and I want to stay on track. So I have written out a script, and I'm going to follow it. So I don't want to sound, I'm going to put passion and energy to this because I feel passionate about it. But I did write out a script because I want to stay on track. So I'm going to be posting these on the YouTube channel, obviously, because this is a video. And then I'm also making sure my microphone is still working. I'm going to be posting this on. I'm going to be creating a podcast that can be listened to, like, on uh, iTunes, and like different, different places online. So I'm going to try to do a double whammy with that. But anyway, so uh, basically, how do you beat depression through action when you have absolutely zero energy? Depression tells you that you cannot do anything until you feel better, that you need to wait until you have energy, until you feel motivated, until you feel like yourself again. And so you wait and you stay in bed, and somehow you feel what? Worse, right? I can attest to this because I've been going through this. And here's what nobody tells you. Action comes before motivation when you're depressed, and not after. Okay? So we always want to think like, oh, we need to feel good to take action, but it's actually the opposite. You don't wait to feel better to start moving. You start moving to actually feel better. And I know that sounds impossible when you can barely get out of bed, and when brushing your teeth feels like climbing Mount Everest. Everything feels absolutely pointless. But today, I'm going to show you why taking action, even the tiniest action, is one of the most powerful tools against depression. And more importantly, how to actually do it when your brain is screaming at you to stay still and stay in bed. So, the depression trap, right? What does depression actually do to you? Because actually understanding this is going to be the first step to breaking free from it. Behavioral action shutdown. So depression creates what's psychologists call behavioral deactivation. Essentially, your brain convinces you that nothing is worth doing. You withdraw, you isolate, you stop doing the things that used to bring you joy because nothing feels good anymore anyway. So, like, why do it, right? So you stay in bed. What's the point of getting up? Here's the cruel irony. The less you do, the worse you feel. And the worse you feel, the less you want to actually do. And so it's a vicious cycle that, like, feeds on itself. The waiting game that never ends. So depression tells you to wait until you have the energy, wait until you feel motivated, wait until you feel better. But motivation just doesn't appear out of nowhere, especially when you're depressed. Your brain chemistry is literally working against the experience of motivation and pleasure. So you keep waiting, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and you're still waiting to feel good enough to start living again. Well, I cannot talk. The brain's reward system is actually broken. And so when you're depressed, your brain's reward system is like malfunctioning. So activities that used to give you pleasure do not anymore. And this is called anhedonia. I think I pronounced that correctly. Anhedonia. Interesting word. So you think, why bother doing anything if nothing feels good? That's the trap. Because your brain's reward system won't fix itself while you're sitting still. It still needs input. It needs experience. It needs action to remind it how to feel good again. And so we go into this isolation spiral. I know I've done this. Depression makes you want to isolate, cancel plans, stop texting people back, avoid social situations. I remember I had forgotten to text somebody back. It was like 2 months, and I was like, oh my gosh, I reached out to this person. I was like, I am totally so sorry. Like, this is not like me. I'm not mad at you or anything like that. I just totally, literally spaced, and I've been going through a funk. And of course, the person was understanding, but this is what happens. We want to, self isolate, excuse me, avoid social situations. Isolation makes depression actually worse, though, and because humans are social creatures. I mean, we need connection. When we withdraw, we're actually starving our brains of something they actually fundamentally need. And so in the moment, isolation feels safer. Like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to, you know, um, be a burden, and it feels easier. But then it's like, because you're like protecting yourself from others, but you're not. You're actually sinking deeper. And so the science behind why taking action, even when you do not feel like it, is so powerful against depression. Uh, it's called behavioral action therapy. There's an entire evidence-based therapy that's called behavioral activation, that's built on this principle. And research shows that it's effective as antidepressants for many people with depression. So yeah, it's literally as effective as taking Prozac. No joke. So this is what this science has found. Basically, the core idea is that depression is maintained by avoidance and withdrawal. By systematically re-engaging with life through small actions, you actually break the cycle. So you're not waiting to feel motivated. You're creating motivation through movement. And so the reverse causation principle says we think, therefore feel good, take action, but it actually works in reverse. You take action to feel good, or at least feel less terrible. And this is because action creates physiological and neurological changes. So physical movement releases endorphins, increases neurotransmitter production. Accomplishing something, even small, activates your brain's reward system. I know this for a fact because this is how I was able to build so much momentum when I was first especially with ADHD. When I was starting my first cake business, I was obsessed, and I just built more and more momentum, and because it was activating my brain reward system over and over again. Until I, of course, crashed and burned because I stayed up all night, so many nights in a row, and and took on clients that I should not have taken on, and didn't understand boundaries at the time. And this is, of course, a course I'm going to teach later on down the line from my experiences. But anyway, yeah. But that made me obsessed, and I was so excited about life at that time. It was great, actually. Getting sunlight. Oh my gosh, this is huge. Regulate your circadian rhythm, boost serotonin. God created the sun because it gives life to people and to the planet. It is a life force. So use it. I mean, I know some people are like, well, you don't want to have too much sun. You want to wear sunscreen, but especially in the wintertime, it's sometimes hard for people who, live in a cold climate and overcast climate, like in the Midwest and stuff like that. I live in Colorado. I'm very fortunate. We get more sun than Southern California. Little secret there. But you can get a sun lamp if you off Amazon, I think. Uh, Touching grass, going outside, just breathing fresh air is going to help you so much. Just walk, I say just literally walk if you can't do anything else outside. Social interaction activates oxytocin and combats isolation. So getting together with people, and I know if you're an introvert, I understand, but you still need to be around people at least sometimes. Your brain does not know the difference between motivated action, this is important, and forced action. It does not know the difference. It responds to the behavior either way. True. Neuroplasticity and depression. So your brain is plastic. It changes based on what you do. When you're in a depressive pattern, staying in bed, isolating, avoiding, all that, you're strengthening those neural pathways. Every time you take action despite depression, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new pathways. You're teaching your brain that action is actually possible, that engagement is possible, that you're feeling better is possible. It's slow, it's hard, but it's happening at a neurological level every time you move. The inertia principle, Newton's first law, applies to depression. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. When you're stuck in a depressive inertia, everything feels impossible. We know this, right? But once you start moving, that momentum builds even a little, and action creates more action. Going back to the law of Newton's law, the hardest part is starting, though, right? That's the hardest fucking part. And once you're in motion, though, things actually get fractionally easier. I'll tell a quick story. I started working out again and consistently. And I said, I don't care if it's just a walk every single day, I'm doing it. And it's crazy. I've actually done several Orange Theory classes. I went for months paying for Orange Theory and not even going. And I was like, I need to cancel this. As my mother would say, shit or get off the pot. I either need to cancel this or I need to just go and use my membership that I pay ridiculous amount of money for every month. And so I got back into Orange Theory, but not only that, I actually have a membership to Planet Fitness, and I started weight training, like specifically weight training, like 2 to 3 times a week. But I walk every single day. I've built myself up to that. But even because I know now I'm training myself that if even if I feel like absolute crap, I know the walk will actually make me feel better. So, and now it's like it's a habit now, which I'm trying to build. I think they say it's 41 days to build a habit, if I'm correct. 40 to 50 days to build a habit. So anyway, but the hardest part is starting, right? Once you're in motion, things get easier. So how do you do this when depression has its freaking claws in you and you're like in the bed, you just cannot do anything? You need to make it ridiculously small. And when I say ridiculously small, I mean like you you don't have a goal to go on like a run. You have a goal to just put on your shoes and tie your shoelaces. Uh, you don't aim to take a shower. You aim to just like turn on the water or clean your room, pick something up off the floor, pick something off your desk, put it away. Little micro things, even reorganizing just one little drawer, not your whole house or anything like that. You don't aim to eat healthy. You just aim to drink like water, because that was one thing that I was struggling with. I was not drinking enough water. I was drinking tea and coffee, and I was so dehydrated. I actually went and got a facial, and they told me your skin is like dried as a bone because you're not drinking enough water. And so I got on track with drinking water. And I feel better. Also, protein, for ADHD brains, this is just a side note. I've noticed that if I eat protein first thing in the morning, I feel 50,000 times better than if I don't and I eat like carbohydrates first thing. So, okay, so depression lies and says all or nothing, right? If it says if you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. But that's a lie. You have to fight that lie with micro actions. 1 minute, one little small thing. That's it. Often you'll find that once you start, you keep going. Even if you don't, even if it's just to turn on the water and turn it off, you still took action. You still broke the inertia. That's the key, is you want to break the inertia. Number 2, opposite action. So you do the opposite of what the depression says. So depression says stay in bed, you get up for 5 minutes. Depression says isolate, you text one person. Depression says nothing matters. You do that one small thing that used to matter. So depression says you don't shower, you just wash your face or turn on the water. You're not doing this because you want to, obviously. You're doing it as an act of rebellion against the depression. You're proving to your brain that depression doesn't get to make all the decisions. So number 3 is going to be scheduling activities even when you don't feel like it. Structure is medicine for depression. You set an alarm, get out of bed at the same time, even on the weekends. This is so important, just especially for ADHD people. We need structure, period. Like we need at all costs to get structure. You schedule one activity each day, no matter how small. Again, I would schedule a walk. That's it. Make it simple, but the most important thing, like I said, to get you out of the funk is to go on a walk and get out in nature, in my opinion. Put social plans on the calendar before depression can even talk you out of them. So if you're have a lot of social anxiety and you want to isolate, putting that on the calendar beforehand is going to be helpful. Creating a basic routine. So wake up, drink water, shower, eat something. Depression thrives in unstructured time. I want you to think about that. All the thoughts coming in, and then it's mounting, and it's like a vicious cycle, and you need to fill the voids. You need to schedule activities to get to not even let you get into that state. So this is going to fill the void with rumination and hopelessness. I'm sorry, depression fills the void with rumination and hopelessness. So you want to combat that by scheduling these activities. So even basic structure creates boundaries that depression cannot fully consume. Number 4, movement before motivation. Physical movement is non-negotiable, like we just talked about. You don't have to exercise. You just need to move. You just need to walk. You just need to stand up and walk around, pace around your house if that's what you have to do. Walk to the mailbox, do 10 jumping jacks, stretch for 2 minutes, dance terribly to one song. I am a freaking terrible dancer. I can sing pretty decently, but I am a horrible dancer, so I will do that well. Stand up, sit down 5 times. Physical movement is changing your brain chemistry. It increases what's called BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps grow new neurons. Yes. It boosts serotonin and dopamine. You're not going to feel like moving, so you move anyway, even for 60 seconds. Number 5 is connect. Even when you feel isolation is safer, right? Social connection is biological medicine. So text one person. You don't have to hang out, just make contact. Sit in a coffee shop by yourself around people. Join an online community or a chat. Call someone, let them know you're struggling. Call a family member or a friend. If you're going to, it's like, oh, I feel like a burden. You're not. Connection helps both people. We are creatures of community. We need community. God designed us this way. I used to actually isolate myself and think I'm just fine. And I'm kind of more of a loner type of personality, but I also realize I need people. I get bored if I just have nobody ever. If right now there's nobody in the house, but it's I don't want that indefinitely. You know what I'm saying? So if you genuinely have no one, there are crisis lines and online support groups where people understand what you're going through. Please take advantage of those. Number 6, you need to track your actions, not your feelings. Depression is going to tell you nothing is working. You need to keep a simple log of what you did, not how you felt. That's so important. I got out of bed, check mark. I drank water, check mark. I went outside, I walked, check mark. On bad days, you're going to be able to look back and see that you are actually doing things. You are fighting. Evidence defeats depression's lies. Number 7, again, sunlight and fresh air, non-negotiable. I know I've mentioned it 2 times already, but This is so important. The sunlight, regulates your circadian rhythm and boosts serotonin. And it's a God-given thing for all life on the planet. You just can't, we would all die without the sun in this state, right? Fresh air and nature reduce cortisol, stress hormone. You don't have to exercise. You just need to exist outside for a few minutes. And if you can't go outside, sit by a window with sunlight. It's not as good, but it's something. You can also, like I said, get one of those sun lamps if you don't have sunlight in the wintertime because it's so overcast. Number 8, the 5-minute deal. This is like what has been popularized. You negotiate with your depression. I'll do this for 5 minutes. If I still feel terrible, I can stop. So it's not like you're committing to like a full day of something or even an hour. Like you're just saying 5 minutes, and then usually 5 minutes though will turn into more. And if it doesn't, you still won 5 minutes back from your depression, right? But usually it builds momentum and starts to get you going. Number 9, doing something for someone else, right? Helping others activate your brain's reward system. Text someone to check on them. Do a small favor for a family member. Leave a kind comment for a stranger online. Donate some, $5 or something to somebody, a cause you care about. When depression tells you you're worthless and everything is pointless, serving others creates tangible evidence that you matter. It shifts focus outside of you, outside of your own head for a moment, and it shifts it onto others. And that's so powerful. Gratitude, is so, so powerful, guys. Like just being thankful. Like I've been starting to be thankful. I mean, I'm going through a very difficult time right now. So what does progress actually look like? Something you need to understand is that taking action is not going to cure your depression overnight. It's a momentum thing. You're doing these things. You're going to do these things and still feel depressed. You're gonna want to crawl back into bed at times. I've done it. I mean, it's been like that for me. But the whole thing is that's to be expected. You're not doing it wrong. So your progress with depression realistically looks more like feeling 5% less terrible than you did yesterday, right? Instead of 50% better per se. Having one slightly easier day after 5 really, really shitty days. Doing the thing, even though you still don't want to. Noticing you smile for 2 seconds at something. So it's slow, it's definitely subtle, and some days it feels like it's not working at all. But the truth is, every action you take is actually chipping away at the depression's hold on you. So every time you do the opposite of what the depression looks like or tells you to do, you're training your brain that depression does not control you. And some days you're going to manage more action, and some days you're going to barely manage any, and both are okay. And you have to be okay with that. So I wanted to mention this. If your depression is really severe and you've been stuck in for months, and you just feel like you're just on a downward spiral that you need professional help, please reach out to somebody. There's the crisis helpline. There's also, the suicide prevention line. There's also therapy. I'm a huge, huge proponent of therapy. I actually have been through therapy over the years, but I finally found my therapist, and she's amazing. Her name is Jeannie, and I am so happy, I found her. But I'm saying, like, sometimes it takes work to actually find the proper therapist that specializes in what you need and is a good fit for you. But please reach out and get help. You cannot do this alone. Like we are communal creatures, and we need community. We can't just think that we can do everything on our own. So, you're stronger than you think. Depression wants you to believe you're powerless, that you're stuck, and that nothing will ever change. But every time you take that little action, even the smallest thing, you are proving depression wrong. You're not your depression. You are the person fighting it. And fighting it doesn't mean you're going to win every single day. It means getting up one more time than the depression knocks you down. So here's what I want you to do today. Pick one micro thing that I talked about. Just one. Just one. So like, drink a glass of water, go outside for 60 seconds if that's all you can do, go on a walk, text one person, stand up and stretch. It just do something, and take action right now. So if you guys can If this video helped you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Subscribe if you want more real actionable content about mental health and ADHD. Depression is lying to you, though. You can do hard things. You are doing hard things by just being here and by checking back in. So keep fighting, guys. I'm proud of you. And I will commit, like I said, to 5 days a week, hopefully. And I'm going to make, like, what I've also done is I've made my streamline or my video process easier. I'm just going to actually do it on my phone. I was doing it before on my laptop, and then I bought a really, really expensive $2,000 camera, and then I don't even know how to use the damn thing. And so that kept me also from like moving forward. And I'm just like, I'm done. I got my little cheap microphone and my phone, and I'm just going to do that like that from here so that I can get content out to you until I learn, the more nicer, tech. And maybe that day will come, maybe it won't, but this is what I got for now. So keep fighting, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.